50 reasons why Jeff Hardy is awesome. This video has been long overdue, I feel like. Jeff Hardy deserves some praise, and by some, we mean 50 reasons worth, Kevin. This video is overdue, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's overdue. Jeff Hardy is awesome. He's one of my favorite wrestlers from my childhood, and I'll try not to fanboy out too much during this video, but I'm really excited for this one, genuinely.
Yeah, we've done a few 50 reasons in the past. The Roman Reigns one is like the biggest one. That's been a smash hit. You guys have loved that. The 100 on Cena, you guys got around that one. The Edge one, got around that too. So here today, we're doing Jeff Hardy. This is going to be a bunch of fun, no doubt about it. So, Kevin, I think without further ado, kick us off with reason one.
Hey, reason number one. Jeff Hardy is just a big-time draw. Jeff Hardy is a mainstream superstar. He's what resembles a mainstream superstar in 2021. Like, if wrestling was cool right now, Jeff Hardy would easily be probably the second biggest thing in wrestling, behind Roman Reigns. And maybe Mandy Rose be up there too, but, that's neither here nor there, I digress. Jeff Hardy is just, everybody knows Jeff Hardy. His merchandise, his look, there's so much there, man.
Yeah, I look at wrestlers nowadays who their name can get can genuinely draw numbers and views in a wrestling community space, and very few guys can. Roman's the big one, Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss, maybe a Chris Jericho. That's genuinely about it. If you've been in the wrestling YouTube space, you'll know that. But Jeff Hardy, he can do it. He can draw those numbers, he can get those viewerships. He's insane in that regard.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Then reason number two, his theme song. Either theme song, but No More Words especially. The Hardy Boys tag team theme song is really good, but his singles theme song, No More Words, it's a song that I could play in the car in my real life, or just day to day. I could listen to that song. It's a really good song. It's iconic. You symbolize it with Jeff Hardy. What more does there say?
That song, Kevin. My God. People have been begging for it since Jeff Hardy came back, and with good reason. No More Words. It's one of those songs, you can bump it really anywhere. It's not like it's specific, and if you don't play it to a wrestling crowd, it's going to seem like, oh my God, what are you listening to? What's that crap? Like most of these wrestling songs nowadays, you can't tell apart from each other. This Jeff Hardy theme song, people grew up with this song, with No More Words, like you. This song's part of your childhood. It's crazy, honestly.
Yeah, I used to play this song literally every day when I was in middle school and high school. I loved it. I loved everything about Jeff Hardy, and the theme song especially. It got you pumped up. Jeff Hardy comes out, he's got that theme song blasting, the lyrics are good. What is wrong with lyrics nowadays in wrestling theme songs? Well, why can't we get good lyrics in theme songs? Why can't we get lyrics, period?
I would love to know that answer. I really would, but yeah, as we know, and everyone watching this video knows, the more generic, the more create a wrestler, the better, I guess. That's WWE nowadays, but nonetheless, Kevin, reason 3, this one, I want to stress a lot, got over organically. This guy didn't need this, the Super Cena type push to get over immensely with the crowd. This guy didn't need a corny yes movement featuring segments with 55 beards hijacking the ring 3 weeks before WrestleMania. This guy got over for literally just being organic, for being himself, Kevin. And there's nothing better than that. There's nothing better than WWE not requiring their force machine to get under him to really get him over. He got over organically, and that's just awesome.
Well, the thing is, people forget that Jeff Hardy is one of the biggest stars from the Attitude Era. He was there in the thick and thin of the Attitude Era, carrying the tag team division, along with Edge and Christian and the Dudleys. And he was a major star. People were begging for him to be a single star from the time that the Hardys broke up. But Jeff Hardy got in his own way. And then eventually, when he finally was able to steer straight for a few years in 08, 09, he just kind of blew up. He just came out, did his thing, and people loved him. It was like any kid that just watched wrestling became a fan of Jeff Hardy. Everybody loved him. Girls loved him. They wanted to go see him. He was a big-time star, and it happened, like you said, naturally. He didn't need to have a Super Cena push for 15+ years. He did his own thing, and it worked.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. And then you touched on a point there, which is reason 4. superhero to kids. I mean, this one is right up your wheelhouse because I'm not going to lie and act as though I grew up watching Jeff Hardy because I didn't. Okay, you grew up watching Jeff Hardy. Walk us through this one. He was a superhero to you, I assume?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't say like Jeff Hardy the person was a superhero, but the character, yeah, the TV character was someone that I looked up to. Was like, wow, I could be like that guy because he didn't look like like a Triple H or a Rock or a Cena. Like it was like, oh, I could beat Jeff Hardy. You know what I mean? He had that everyman look, but he also had that rock star look to him too. Like he was just cool at the same time. The face paint, the sleeves, the jewelry, everything Jeff Hardy related was awesome, and I appreciate him, and a bunch of other kids my age did too. Like I remember being at like sitting at lunch in middle school, just like that was what people talked about. Nowadays, nobody talks about wrestling, but like back in 2008, sitting down at lunch, you have kids who are like, "Oh, did you see SmackDown? Did you see what Jeff Hardy did? Did you see Jeff Hardy jump off the stage and jump on Randy Orton?" Like it was Jeff Hardy was such a like he was bigger than people give him credit for from 0809. I guess because it was such a small era, and yeah, kids just ate him up.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's like the big thing as well. That word starting with C. Cool. Like we've talked about it ad nauseum, but if wrestling's cool, if anything's cool, more people are going to like it, more people are going to tune in, more people are going to become fans. It's pretty much common sense. And nowadays, when wrestling is as uncool as it's ever been, it's tough to see because people like Jeff Hardy got over because of how cool he was. Because of what you mentioned there. He got over with the kids, the teenagers, the adults, like everyone. I mean, my God. So, yeah, that one's reason 4. Reason 5. We kind of touched on it before, but looks like a rock star. This dude comes out, no more words, he's jumping around, he's got, like, the whole attire. It just clicked. I mean, yeah, face paint, you got the sleeve, jewelry, he's got, like, the kind of tracky type pants, he's got, that kind of, like, singlet top almost. Like, the whole look, it had a rock star look. It worked for Jeff. It really did.
Yeah, he's one of the few guys that look like a rock star. Chris Jericho being like the other one that jumps to mind. But you look at some of the big time rock stars, Steven Tyler, Mick Jagger, etc. Jeff Hardy, he fits that mold. The cool leather pants, like you said, the hair, different colored hair, face paint. It works. It's like he looks like he could tour with Kiss or something like that.
Yep, no doubt. And that transitions straight to reason 6. Incredibly recognizable, Kevin. Recognizability when it comes to wrestlers is probably one of the most make or break factors. How much a wrestler stands out. If they stand out so much in a good way, they're going to make it as a star. And Jeff Hardy, he broke the mold. He genuinely stood out from everyone else. He was a guy who you'd watch a full 2-hour episode of Raw, you'd see Jeff Hardy and go, that guy, I want to see more of him after this show. I want to watch more of him next week. Jeff Hardy was like that guy. So that's why he had such success. Like, he just so recognizable, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I could go to a college campus right now and go up to anyone my age or a little bit younger and show them a picture of Jeff Hardy, and like 80% of the people are going to know who he is. They'd be like, oh, yeah, that's the guy. They might not know exactly his name, but they'd be like, oh, yeah, that's the guy from WWE. Like, they'll be able to associate him with wrestling.
Wait, so you're telling me if someone goes up to random people at a college campus who are your age and shows them a picture of Ilya Dragunov, not gonna know who it is? Excuse me?
I don't even know who that is. if I'm being honest right now.
But he had a great match with Volta on NXT UK a couple of months ago. What do you mean, Kevin? What?
Oh, I know. I'm breaking all the rules there, John.
But yeah, anyway, you guys get the point. Like, Jeff Hardy, so recognizable. I mean, masses of people will just recognize him and know of him. So, yeah, very recognizable. Then, number 7, Kevin, you speak to this one. I mean, you had this firsthand. Cool merchandise. I mean, my God, Jeff's merchandise was something else.
Yeah, I had that Immune to Fear shirt, that iconic Jeff Hardy shirt. Everyone that's a Jeff Hardy fan from my era knows what I'm talking about. With his face on it, on the back it says Immune to Fear. I just found out they still sell it on WWEshop.com, so I might have to pick one up. That Jeff Hardy t-shirt is a t-shirt that you can wear in public and not feel absolutely embarrassed to say, oh, this is a wrestling shirt. Like, that's a t-shirt that when I used to wear it, people who didn't know wrestling would be like, oh, that's an awesome shirt, man. What is that? Where do I get one? Who is that? That's so cool. Stuff like that. And his other merchandise, like I already said, the sleeves, the necklaces, the posters. You get a poster of Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy looking like rock stars, You're gonna tell me that that wouldn't be cool? Like an autographed picture of those two or something? Like everything, you put Jeff Hardy's face on it, his name, it's gonna be cool. His merchandise is not on the level of like Stone Cold or Rey Mysterio or DX or like conglomerates like that. But his merchandise is in that second tier and it's high level.
Oh, definitely, definitely, yeah. As you say, I mean, it's not like the GOAT tier wrestling merchandise. Like, you think GOAT tier wrestling merchandise, it's the NWO shirt, it's the Austin 316 shirt, it's that type of thing. But, I mean, Jeff Hardy's stuff is damn cool. You mentioned an example there, but just generally, you wear Jeff Hardy merch, it's not merch you're embarrassed to wear in public. Like you look nowadays and there's, like, shirts with, like, Matt Riddle's Stallion logo and the word bro. And it's like, I wouldn't be caught dead wearing that. But you look at something like Jeff Hardy's merchandise, and it's like, oh, okay. I'd rock that in public, and I wouldn't be ashamed of what I'm wearing. So that one's, yeah, absolutely cool merchandise, no doubt about it. Next up, number 8, Kevin, the entrance. It's a great entrance. Like, he comes out, this is a combination of the factors we kind of mentioned before: the merch, the recognizability, the look, just the theme song. It all just clicks together with Jeff, and it makes such a good, like, all-round package of a pro wrestler. He doesn't have to be 6'6" and pumped full of steroids to be really damn cool and really damn engaging. Like,
yeah, well, one of the easily the most iconic entrances in wrestling history, and it's one that doesn't get talked about enough when people think of great entrances. Typically, when most people, I don't know about you, but for me, when I think great entrances, I think Undertaker, I think, John Cena, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold. I don't really think Jeff Hardy. And I think that he should be talked about more, because that entrance with no more words blasting, the pose, the strut, the fireworks, him just looking like a maniac, bobbing his head, high-fiving every fan that he's walking by. His entrance, it's a spectacle in and of itself.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, this entrance, that many people know it, and just recognizability all goes back to that. So, yeah, that's reason 8. Reason 9... This one, it's crazy good charisma, okay? Jeff Hardy, he's not, like, on the mic. He's not one of these guys who'll cut your 20-minute pipe bomb promo. He's not a guy who you associate with the I Deserve Better promo. He's just a guy who just has natural charisma. Some guys have it, some guys don't. Batista had it in droves. Jeff Hardy has it in droves. Edge had it in droves. Like, these type of guys in the Ruthless Aggression era especially had these natural charisma and droves, Kevin. I mean, you can speak to this better than anyone. Like, my God.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy, like you said, he didn't need the mic. But everything about him was cool. The Swanton Bomb, the Twist of Fate, the poses, the entrance. It was just cool. They call him the Charismatic Enigma for a reason.
Yep.
People wanted to know get inside the head of Jeff Hardy. He's a quirky guy in real life, from what other wrestlers have said. And that kind of came through on the screen. You could tell this dude was absolutely unique. And that's another thing that's lacking in wrestling today: uniqueness, individuality. That kind of characteristics, that draws people in. It makes them interested.
Definitely. I mean, uniqueness, we need more of it, Kevin. We really do. It's just guy A versus guy B versus guy C. Oh, look, it's a really good triple threat match. Oh, we'll copy and paste guy D into the spot of guy C. Oh, the match is really good. Good move execution. Like, come on, give us something, please. Give us something, please. So, yeah, that's reason 9. Reason 10. This one, when I think Jeff Hardy, I think of this, does anything and everything he can / could to entertain us. Like, the amount of stories wrestlers have told of, like, Jeff Hardy, he'd be on a tour bus, and they'd be going show to show, and Jeff's, like, collapsed on, like, the seat, like, in like, physical pain from everything he's doing with his body to try and entertain us. Like, he's put his body on the line so much over the past, like, 3 decades to entertain the fans, which I commend immensely. And the longevity associated with that as well. I mean, yes, there was the painkiller addiction and all that kind of stuff within there, but my God, he's put himself through so much for us, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, he's 40 plus years old, still jumping off ladders and still doing crazy spots, like the spot he did with Elias back on Raw in late 2020 in the Thunderdome. And, Jeff Hardy, I mean, there's nothing that he won't do in the ring. He's a daredevil. And we've seen it since he was young, and we still see it today. He'll go through tables, he'll jump on electrical boards, he'll take a screwdriver to the ear. You name it, Jeff Hardy will do it.
Yeah, legit facts. And then we move on. Reason 11, kind of building on that one, the dangerous ladder spots. I mean, we've got specific examples throughout the rest of this list, but just generally, the things this guy does, he makes ladder matches memorable, and I guess almost in a negative way, because he set the bar so high with some of the things he's done. I mean, the spear he took from Edge in TLC 2, and the leg drop off the ladder at Mania 23, the Swanton at 33 through the bar. Like, Kevin, this guy set a new level in ladder matches. He really did.
Yeah, to me, he's the guy I associate with ladder matches. When I think ladder match in wrestling, I think Jeff Hardy every time. It's just, he's synonymous with the match. He does just stunt after stunt. You can find him on YouTube. There's so many things that Jeff Hardy's done. If you haven't seen some of his crazy spots, yeah, I highly recommend you check it out.
Yeah.
And then, number 12, women love him. Jeff Hardy is a guy that, like, if you bring your girlfriend around him, he can steal your girlfriend. He's that cool. Like, anytime he takes his shirt off, you could always hear women screaming. Like, especially back in the day, like in the mid 2000s and the Attitude Era, he would like intentionally take his shirt off in the middle of the match, and women would just go crazy. You could hear it. Like, women love the guy, and it's clear. It's easy to see why. He has everything that like a woman would want, I guess.
You guess, yeah, legit. Like, I think one thing we said, just off recording with this one, is that if it's like 1:30 a.m. in a nightclub and like music's like blasting, you barely hear yourself think, and you go up to some female and talk about Jeff Hardy, you're not gonna have a drink thrown at you. You know, like, it's just. Oh, I love that. That's great. Yeah, so that's reason 12. Reason 13. I mean, we just touched on the women love him. Next up, reason 13. The hip hop community and the emo community love him. Okay, just hip hop. He's referenced in a bunch of different songs. There are songs just about Jeff Hardy, which is insane. And the emo community. I mean, this guy inspired Darby Allin to do what he does nowadays. He inspired the emo community, Kevin. Like, this man inspires masses, my guy. Right?
Yeah, he does. He's got fans in every community. Yeah, hip hop. There's like a couple different songs that I've heard named after him. You hear Jeff Hardy references all the time in hip hop. He's one of the when hip hop talks about a wrestler, that's when you know they're cool. He's entered like that Ric Flair, Booker T, Steve Austin status, where it's just like he could be in pop culture. He doesn't have to be like stuck in this wrestling bubble. And then, like you said, the emo community. I can't really speak too much about that, but I could just imagine the effects that Jeff Hardy would have on that community just based on his personality.
Oh God, yeah. His like representation and like WWE, the thing they've been big on ever since the Benoit tragedy has been a whole thing about representation. And like the representation of Jeff Hardy, it was organic, it got over, masses loved it, just really damn good. So yeah, that's 13. Kevin, do you want to do reason 14 for us?
Yeah, he started working for the WWF at 16 years old. So there's like a rare clip in the mid 90s. I don't remember who he was wrestling.
Razor Ramon. It was Razor Ramon in 94.
Yeah, Razor Ramon in 1994 at 16 years old, making an appearance on WWE TV. That's just, I mean, he lied to Vince McMahon about his age. What a gangster. Come on, man. It's Jeff Hardy. He can do anything.
He gets infinite lad points with me for that. That's just, whenever you lie to Vinnie Mac and you wrestle for the World Wrestling Federation at 16. Like, nowadays they're bringing in guys, Kevin, for like their first matches at like 38, you know? And Jeff was 16.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, right. Keith Lee was like, 34 when he signed with WWE?
Yep. Bruh. That's crazy. That's just 16, dude. Like, I'm 18, and like 2 years younger than me, dude. Like, bruh.
Like, he's wrestling for WWE, and then he's going to sit in high school, like in English class, the next day, you know.
Yeah, he literally the next day after wrestling Razor Ramon in front of 2.5 million people on Raw, he's literally got some 74-year-old Karen telling him about the Industrial Revolution in history class. Like, that's just crazy. So, yeah, that's reason 14. 15, I mentioned it just then, but he became the WWE's first organic post-Chris Benoit star. What I mean by this, yeah, Cena was technically like the star, but Jeff Hardy like got over organically, became a model of representation for an emo community, a rock star for fans. Like, Jeff Hardy got over after Benoit, after WWE had their image and just reputation ran to tatters by the Benoit situation. Jeff Hardy was at least a saving grace, Kevin.
Absolutely. If you look back at the era from 2006 to 2010, you could say Jeff Hardy's really the only star that came from that time frame. Because you look at all the other big stars of that era. Randy Orton was made in like 0405. Edge was made in 0405. Batista was made 0405. Jeff Hardy was like really the only organic star until Punk became a star in 2011, and then the Shield came up.
Yep.
And then so on and so forth. The rest is history. But yeah, Jeff Hardy was kind of like the bridge of that gap, and you could say he's the PG era's true only homegrown star being made. Because he was a star. He was famous in the Attitude Era, but he became a top guy, and he hit that next level in the PG era right after the Benoit incident.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And like, you think about that. I mean, this guy, like at the time, people talk about Cena burying everyone, but who was there? You know, like, oh my god, Cena buried Vladimir Kozlov in an episode of Raw. Oh my god, Cena beat Sheamus in a match. Oh my god, Cena defeated Ryan Reeves, aka Ryback. Like, you know, like,
don't forget he buried the great Alex Riley because Alex Riley didn't shake his hand at a house show in 2010.
If Vanilla was a person, it'd be Alex Riley. Like, I'm not having this thing of, he could have been a main event at Kevin. This guy was as vanilla gets, so...
But he had a great theme song.
Okay, and so did David Otunga. It doesn't mean he has to be world champion. Like, get out of here, dude. Next up, we move on to 16. Okay, this one, the greatness of the Hardy Boys. This is one of the greatest tag teams of all time. If not the greatest tag team of all time, you could argue. Like, these two, Matt and Jeff... From the early days of wrestling in the backyards in Carolina to main eventing shows and stealing the show at WrestleManias, and these two, they're an incredible team, Kevin. Like,
certainly my favorite tag team of all time. I love the Hardy Boys, always have. The Hardy Boys, they're on the short list top 5 tag teams of all time. What they did for tag team wrestling cannot be stated. They put tag team wrestling on a map. They're the reason, that people expect greatness from WWE's tag team division when they really shouldn't. WWE has had no track record of making tag team wrestling a priority. It just so happened that these young guys that had a good feud, but you look at the division in the Attitude Era, it was literally just 3 teams, and you had drunk JBL and Ron Simmons screaming at people. That was the tag team division in the Attitude Era. So
yeah,
people look at tag team wrestling, they're like, oh, I wish these guys would look like the Hardys. Well, that says more about how great the Hardys were than it says about WWE and their issues with tag team wrestling. The Hardys were so great as a tag team, they were undeniable. And they've influenced generation upon generation. You look at the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks are direct ripoffs of the Hardys in a lot of ways.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, you talk about tag team wrestling in that light. I mean, yeah, you look at in the mid-90s in the World Wrestling Federation, it was the Godwins against, the 42-year-old Legion of Doom. And that was legit every pay-per-view. And then you get to 1997, 98, and you've got the APA with Bradshaw, our favorite, clotheslining Kurgan of the Oddities. And it's what is this? And then the Hardy Boys come along with Edge and Christian and the Dudleys, and they revolutionized the whole damn sport. And I guess, this is kind of reason 17. Edge and Christian, Hardy's, Dudleys, this tag team rivalry was just special. That's the best way of putting it. These 3 teams did so much for tag team wrestling. They set a bar for tag team wrestling that, regardless of how many great Young Bucks matches we see since, it could never be toppled or replicated. These guys did things that were just incredible.
Yeah, everyone is trying to top them. These 3 guys are the pioneers of the TLC match. Without the Hardys, Edge, Christian, and the Dudleys, there would be no TLC pay-per-view. Hell, ladder matches wouldn't even be that big. Ladder matches would be an occasional thing, but because of these guys, the ladder match has become a thing. The first, they did the first triangle ladder match at WrestleMania 2000, the first TLC match, SummerSlam 2000, then the second TLC match at WrestleMania 17. They did so many firsts. First tag team ladder match. This rivalry, it's one of the greatest rivalries in wrestling history, period. Not tag team wrestling history, period. Edge, Christian, and the Hardys and Dudleys. It's an all-time great rivalry, stacks up with the others.
Oh, no doubt. And then this one, reason 18, we can kind of skip through this. We kind of already touched on this one. The Hardy Boys, so Jeff Hardy, on tag team wrestling's Mount Rushmore. Objectively, the Hardy Boys are on tag team wrestling's Mount Rushmore. I don't think you can make a really genuinely good case for otherwise. Kevin, I struggle to see a case otherwise.
Yeah, there is no case. They're definitely undeniably one of the 4 greatest tag teams of all time. And the next reason, TLC 2. from WrestleMania 17. This is my favorite wrestling match ever. I could watch this match a million times over. I just never get sick of it. It's right up there with Undertaker and Shawn from WrestleMania 25 for me. It's my two favorite matches. I've seen this match, I don't even know, probably like 25, 30, maybe 40 times. I love it. I love all the spots. You got the power bomb where Devon Dudley power bombs Matt Hardy through Rhino on a table. Jeff Hardy doing the swanton off the top of the ladder onto Rhino and Spike Dudley. Matt Hardy and Bubba Ray getting pushed off the ladder, falling through 4, 6, 8 tables, however many tables it was. I could recall so many spots. Then there's the famous one where Jeff gets speared by Edge from like 20 plus feet in the air off the ladder. One of the most replayable moments, and that's reason 20 as well. One of the most replayable moments in wrestling history. You see it in the intro for WWE. You see it time and time again when you're looking at Edge and you're looking at Jeff Hardy's career. It's synonymous with both of their careers, and it's, like I said, one of the most iconic moments in wrestling history.
Yeah, I mean, like, you call TLC 2, like, your favorite, one of your favorite match, like, ever. Because, like, that match, to put it in, like, a phrase, it's a beautiful car crash. That's, like, the match itself, like, you watch it, it's, like, 14, 15 minutes long, and it's just non-stop action. Like, it's set a bar for, I mean, I've said this a couple times now, but it's set a bar for just tag team wrestling and, like, tag team ladder matches that never was ever going to be replicated. The things those guys did in those matches, like, you have to have seen them. If you haven't seen the TLC matches, especially TLC 2, you genuinely, you're missing out as a wrestling fan. Like, if you're a wrestling fan, you haven't seen TLC 2, what are you doing? Seriously, what are you doing? That spot with Edge and Jeff Hardy and the ladder, my God. I mean, my God, the things, like, it goes back to Jeff Hardy putting absolutely everything into his performances, taking years off his life, destroying his body for our entertainment. And same to Edge. I mean, he needed the triple fusion neck surgery because of spots like that. So, yeah, hats off to those guys. Then, reason 21, Kevin. This one's right in your wheelhouse. The trilogy of matches versus Rob Van Dam.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't seen any of these matches, I implore you to watch all three of them. They had a ladder match at SummerSlam 01, then a hardcore match at Invasion 01, and then a ladder match a year later in the middle of the summer, I believe, on Raw in 02. Just go back and find them. You can find all three of them on YouTube or on Peacock or the network. This rivalry, the Jeff Hardy RVD rivalry, put RVD on the map in WWE, and it helped put Jeff Hardy on the map as a singles wrestler. The trajectory after 01 post RVD rivalry for Jeff Hardy was like, oh, Jeff Hardy's going to be a guy that's going to carry WWE into the next era. And then it didn't work out. We all know Jeff's stuff, his personal life, it didn't work out. But life looked good in 01 for Jeff Hardy as a single star. Meanwhile, Matt Hardy was floundering, Jeff Hardy was succeeding, and yeah, the match at Invasion 01, if you love hardcore wrestling, it's the epitome of hardcore wrestling. These two guys they're trying to outdo each other. You got two of the best high flyers in wrestling history having ladder matches. What else do I need to say? Just the spots are just unbelievable.
Yeah, you've got, I mean, that is, in essence, everything a mid-card should and needs to be on a really good wrestling show. Two guys who are desperate, fighting it out to try and impress, try and get management's attention, try and, like, earn that main event spot, like, the right way, and not just go on Twitter and complain and do an I deserve better promo and talking smack. You know, like, everything about RVD and Jeff Hardy's trilogy, those matches were just insane. Two guys you can tell were just desperate to succeed. Like, just awesome stuff. So, that's 21. 22, this one, probably, I dare say, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, outside TLC 2, I guess, but in my opinion, Jeff Hardy's most famous match, okay, the ladder match versus The Undertaker on Raw in 2002. Jeff Hardy was a largely unknown, I mean, we'd seen him for years, but as far as like a singles, like, main event star, Jeff Hardy hadn't really reached that level yet. He had that RVD trilogy and all that kind of stuff, but we hadn't seen him as that, like, main event guy. So come July 2002 on Raw, or June, July, we have The Undertaker, when he's Big Evil, having a ladder match versus Jeff Hardy. And through Undertaker, through Jeff Hardy's great work, Kevin, Jeff Hardy's star went from, he's a good IC champion type mid-card guy, to this guy can genuinely be the future of the company. Oh my God. Like, walk us through this one, Kevin. So good.
Oh, another one of my 10 favorite matches right here. I could watch this match over and over again. This one, it happened on Raw. This is, like, on a short list of the greatest matches in Raw history. on the like 5 or 6 greatest matches to ever take place on an episode of Raw. This is what we used to get on Raw back in the day. You have Jim Ross with one of his most iconic calls on commentary. Oh, you make yourself famous, kid. Damn it, Jeff. Get the belt. And I remember that. I can't tell you what Michael Cole said yesterday on SmackDown, or what Tom Phillips said on Raw, or whatever, Byron Saxton. But I can tell you what Jim Ross said 20 years ago in this match with Undertaker and Jeff Hardy. And you got to give Undertaker credit. Undertaker put Jeff Hardy over like $1 million in this match. After the match ends, you have Jeff Hardy like not wanting to die. Undertaker coming out there looking like he's gonna beat him up, because Jeff Hardy's disrespecting him, I guess, by getting up after the match is over. Instead, Undertaker comes in, helps Jeff Hardy up, says, "You know what, kid, you got it." What bigger endorsement can you get than having Undertaker be like shaking your hand in the middle of the ring live on Raw? It doesn't get any bigger, any better than that. And in my opinion, this is Jeff Hardy's best singles match that he ever had in his career.
Yep, and I'll just build on that. That goes to show you when you build these characters up as these like larger than life, heroes, as like Undertaker was. When he pretty much breaks kayfabe in a sense and goes, "Damn, this kid's good." Like that's going to send the big, powerful message to the fans that, oh damn, like the Undertaker enforced this guy. I'm going to be a fan. I want to see what he does next. Like that's what it does psychologically to fans. So I mean, this made Jeff Hardy, elevated him immensely. So that's that one. That was reason 22. Then 23, the Swanton Bomb, just the move itself, like amazing finisher. It stands out in a great way. Just Kevin, awesome move.
Iconic. Well, one of the 10 most recognizable wrestling moves ever. It's up there with the RKO, Cena's attitude adjustment, Hogan's leg drop, the stunner. Whatever it's up there in that echelon.
Oh god, yeah, and then I mean, yeah, we move on to 24. This one, Whisper in the Wind. I mean, Kevin, walk us through this one. Walk us through it.
An iconic signature move. I always think of Jeff Hardy doing the Whisper in the Wind off of a ladder or off of a steel cage. This move, it looks like they say poetry in motion for one of Jeff Hardy's moves. It's a beautiful move. Watching Jeff Hardy, the way he elegantly climbs up the ladder, up the turnbuckle. He looks back. He does the Whisper in the Wind. You recognize the move. It's a unique signature move. Again, uniqueness. Not a lot of guys have unique signature moves. What's Seth Rollins' signature move? Ooh, a super kick. Ooh, a flying knee. Ooh, no, Jeff Hardy, Whisper in the Wind. You know it. It's iconic.
Yeah. I'm just gonna leave it at that. You covered that pretty well, Kevin. So move on to 25. So crack the halfway point. This one, I want to talk about Will-O-the-Wisp. Now, Willow, yeah, the detractors will say, okay, you take Jeff Hardy, who was like Impact's biggest star at the time, you whack a mask on him so you can't tell who the hell he is, and then you strut him out there. But at the same time, it's like, this thing, it was dope. It was a different take on Jeff Hardy. He'd been through a whole hell of a lot by this point. By the time Will-O-the-Wisp became like a thing in Impact, it was a big deal. And yeah, there were like, early days with Willow. That wasn't the first time, when we saw her in 2012 and 13, it wasn't the first time we'd ever seen Willow, but the presentation of it, the mask, the white and black theme, the entrance, it was a different dynamic for Jeff Hardy. It was just pretty cool, wasn't it, Kevin?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I love the character. I'm going to leave what you said there. I just want to jump to the next two.
Oh, yeah.
I want to do these. So 26, the leg drop off the ladder at WrestleMania 23 on Edge. Now, Edge has stated that he wanted to repay Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy gave Edge one of his most iconic moments at WrestleMania 17 with the spear off the ladder, and then Edge returned the favor and did this for Jeff Hardy. This became one of Jeff Hardy's most recognizable moments in wrestling history. And as a kid, I loved this because I thought Edge was dead, and I was cheering. I was like, yeah, he killed Edge. I hated Edge. I sports hated him. I didn't hate the person.
Yeah.
I sports hated him, and he was a damn good heel. I was just glad to see Jeff Hardy break the ladder on his face. It's one of those moments that you could show somebody on social media and be like, look at this, man. And they're going to be like, wow, that's cool. Like, what is that? I want to watch it. I want to see that full match. Back when WrestleMania had great ladder matches. Unbelievable. And then 27, the 30-foot Swanton Bomb on Randy Orton. Another one that I love because I hated Randy Orton too as a kid. And I love seeing Jeff Hardy. Like, everybody was talking about this. If this happened in 2020, this would break the internet. If WWE did exactly what they did in 2008, where you have Jeff Hardy climbing the stage at Raw, and then he jumps off on Randy Orton. It looks like both guys are dead. You got the ambulance out there. They're getting stretchered out. Jeff Hardy's like hand is shaking as he's being stretchered out. Iconic. It's another one of those most replayable clips. It's just one of those moments, and Jeff Hardy has a lot of those highlight reel moments that are gonna be replayed for till the end of time.
Yeah, and like I remember seeing both of these. Like, granted, obviously, I didn't watch these like live, but I remember seeing these clips like when I was like 8. Like the leg drop off the ladder at 23. That one I believe was in WWE's intro package or something to that effect. And I remember seeing that like when I was like 8. I was like, Jesus, that's dope. Like, that's cool as. And then the 30-foot swanton bomb on Orton, like, that one is just insane. Like, I always saw that thinking, like, there's something wrong with this guy in like a good way. It's just incredible. Like, that is something that, Kevin, I mean, you said it right there. If they did that on Raw nowadays, everyone would be talking. It's not just like, oh well, Raw ended with Alexa Bliss on a swing. Like, no, if Raw ends with Jeff Hardy or someone doing a 30-foot swanton bomb off the stage to a big name like Randy Orton, I mean, mainstream would be talking. So, yeah, that's that. That's 26 and 27. Then 28, Kevin, his road to the WWE title in 2008, like it wasn't filled with amazing 9-star classics, but it was just a really well-built road to the title, wasn't it?
That was awesome. It was awesome. When he first returned to WWE in 07, it was like, oh, we're going to do the reunion with Jeff Hardy. I mean, with Matt Hardy. We're going to have the Hardy Boys reunion. And then it was like, all right, cool. We're going to separate them. Put Jeff on Raw. Then they move into SmackDown. And SmackDown became his show. It was fun to watch Jeff go from like reuniting with Matt Hardy to feuding with Umaga to having good matches with Randy Orton. And then all of a sudden, he's like entrenched in this feud with Edge that got kind of personal. And what do you know? Jeff Hardy climbs the mountaintop. He overcomes all his demons. He's the most unlikely champion in WWE history. I don't care what anyone says. A guy with as many arrests and legal issues and drug problems that are well documented like Jeff Hardy, that guy is not supposed to be WWE champion. And his redemption story, the only redemption story that's greater in my opinion is Eddie Guerrero's road to the WWE title, but Jeff Hardy's is the second best. It's inspiration, man. It just shows that you can beat anything if you try hard enough and you really work at it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that leads us to the moment, Kevin. 29, the WWE title win, Armageddon 08, Triple H, Edge, Jeff Hardy, triple threat match, the whole story. Where, I mean, it was supposed to happen in Survivor Series, but they swerve the fans. They do the whole attack angle and who did it, and they do have that thing where Jeff Hardy isn't going to be involved. No, now he is, and it's a triple threat, and Jeff Hardy overcomes the evil Triple H and the evil Edge, and, it was just this big, great moment, and Jeff Hardy... I mean, Jim Ross's Cole, legendary, from enigma to icon, and just special. Like, it's one of those moments which, as far as like babyface overcoming the odds title wins, it's right up there in wrestling history. It's right up there with a Mick Foley winning in '99. It's right up there with a Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30. It's one of like those moments, like even an Eddie in 04, like a Ray in 06, like one of those title wins where you just go like that's a special moment. Like, irrefutably.
Yeah, you just gotta say hats off to the guy. I mean, come on, it's Triple H and Edge. There's no way that Jeff Hardy is gonna beat these guys. I remember thinking that, like, I didn't even want to watch the pay-per-view because I was like, oh, it's just gonna be Triple H pedigreeing Jeff Hardy and blah blah blah. 1, 2, 3. We'll get another 25-minute promo to start SmackDown the next week with Triple H. I was not into watching this pay-per-view at all. And then I was shocked, like, whenever I found out, like the next day or a couple days after, just seeing that Jeff Hardy won. I was just amazed. And then that SmackDown, that championship celebration, Reason 30, iconic. One of my favorite moments too. An iconic championship celebration. Jeff Hardy gets, I don't know, like 10 minutes of just, he makes his entrance. He's got confetti. You got the pyro going off at his entrance. They drop all the confetti. He's standing on the turnbuckle, holding up the belt, doing his signature pose, looking at the belt, looking at the crowd. Crowd's going crazy. More fireworks, more confetti. Just a great moment. And that's what superstars are made of, man. Like, that's what a superstar looks like. Imagine like Finn Balor. Finn Balor wins the WWE title in 2021. And he has a celebration. He's gonna come out there holding his belt that's like bigger than his whole chest. Like, come on. This is what a superstar looks like, bro.
God. Yeah. I mean, that's gonna be a a point of discussion in the comments. Bonafide Heat disrespects Finn Balor. Like, legit, the amount of people, quick, really little side tangent here. The amount of people I've seen say on the Roman Reigns who should dethrone him video that Finn Balor should be the guy. I'm like, imagine Finn Balor's championship celebration after ending Reigns' like 600-day reign as Universal Champion. You got Finn Balor flicking his vest, pointing at the camera as he's like flexing his like six pack. Like, come on. But yeah, Jeff Hardy's championship celebration, it was dope. I mean, the visual of Jeff Hardy, like, he's like smiling, which, I mean, you hardly ever saw Jeff Hardy smile. So to see him happy was a moment that would make women and all these people just amazed and just so happy. So you see Jeff Hardy like smiling, he's like looking at the title, looking at the fans, there's pyro going off. Just awesome. Just so sick. Like that's a special moment in wrestling. It really is, Kevin. So
I'm sure a young Sasha Banks and young Bayley loved that moment.
We'll leave that one there unless you want to get me cancelled. But yeah, next up, reason 31, the feud versus CM Punk. Like the dynamic with this one of you have the straight edge savior CM Punk against Jeff Hardy, who was quite literally anything but that. Like, it just, dynamic worked really well as far as like a general storyline. The only issue with this is that it was like grossly overshadowed by Cena and Orton and like what DX were doing. That was like the issue with this. Like, this main event was SummerSlam, but it was overshadowed by the Undertaker's return. Like, and then Jeff Hardy was gone within like 3 weeks due to some unforeseen events, we'll say. So yeah, Kevin, what were your thoughts on the Punk feud?
The biggest problem with this feud was the fact that Punk had been treated like a jobber a year before when he was like he had the big gold belt and he was treated like he had the 24/7 title in 2019 Raw or something like that.
Yeah.
That's how they booked Punk as world champion. So this really wasn't as on Jeff Hardy as much as it was on the way that WWE booked Punk. It was like, okay, like, why is this mid-carder feuding with this icon Hall of Famer Jeff Hardy? But the feud, as Michael Cole would say, was very personal. This is the definition of a personal feud. You got, like you said, the straight edge Punk lecturing Jeff Hardy about how, his father's ashamed of his alcohol habits, his mother would be ashamed, his brother, what does his family think of him, what does his wife, his kids think of him, he's a horrible dad, all this, just very personal feud. Really helped rebuild CM Punk's image after he had just been destroyed by horrible booking. But he didn't, at the same time, it didn't do a lot of favors having the main event in front of a fairly dead crowd that was more interested in watching Cena and Orton and, like you said, Undertaker's return. Yeah,
absolutely. And then some unforeseen events happened in the Jeff Hardy timeline, and then we can transition to the Impact stuff for a bit. So when it comes to Jeff, reason 32, I think it's pretty fair to say, obviously, some certain events excluded, but just overall, he wasn't a shell of himself in Impact. Like, Kevin, we've seen that many wrestlers go to Impact for a paycheck, treated as though it's WCW 1999. You just go there with no care for the actual product. You go there, and like with TNA Impact, for example, you have the NWO showing up in TNA, only the theme song is like a dodgy remix. They're all got all grey hair. They're doing the click sign, and it's just dead. And like, Jeff Hardy was the opposite. He showed up, he cared for the most part, except for a couple of instances, and he was just great all around, so, yeah.
Yeah, aside from Bound for Glory 2011, where he just made an embarrassment.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, aside from that, which, yes, like you said, we're going to talk about. But for the most part, he was very good in Impact. And it wasn't sad where you're watching Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan and Sting and these guys in their 60s bleeding and having matches, just trying to relive their glory days. Like, that was just sad. It wasn't like Scott Steiner just, making a fool of himself in promos, now becoming a meme. It was Jeff Hardy did some good stuff for the most part. Like 80% of his run in Impact was very good, and he brought some star power to Impact. He brought some fans over to Impact. He was a big get for them.
Oh, absolutely. And then this moves in 33. Objectively, he respects TNA's biggest pay-per-views of the year, Kevin. Objectively.
I did not support this one.
What about 34? Do you support this one? 34. Jeff Hardy is the highest in the room.
No, I do not support this one. No, and no, Travis Scott did not make that song about Jeff Hardy. I don't support either of these. This is an awesome video. I don't know what we're doing here. Bonafide Heat, do not condone these two reasons. Reason 33 and 34, I do not condone them.
Yeah, I'll claim responsibility. Those were jokes. Please take them as such. Have a sense of humor, please. So we move on to reason 35. Brother Nero. That whole thing, Kevin, pretty cool all around, wasn't it?
Awesome. Yeah, Brother Nero, the stuff, the broken stuff. Oh, it's about to be broken. The broken stuff that Matt and Jeff did, it made Impact cool for the first time in God knows how long. For the first time since like when Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe were having like real life shoot cage fights. You know, like that was the last time Impact was cool. It was like 06. And then Matt Hardy starts doing this crazy gimmick where people actually thought Matt Hardy went off the deep end in real life and his personal life fell apart. He like just started doing a bunch of drugs. Then it turns out it was a gimmick all along, and yeah, just what an era. The broken gimmick.
Oh god, yeah.
Nero.
God, yeah. And then 36. I want to talk about this one in a bit of detail. The final deletion. Like this was a time in 2016. I was barely watching wrestling in general. Like I was kind of after seeing heel Authority Rollins as champion for like 9 months. I didn't want to really watch wrestling anymore. I was keeping track of Smock Boss's videos, but that was about it. And then I hear about this final deletion thing. It's getting overwhelming praise. I watch it. I'm like, this is brilliant. This is so good. It's like creative. It's fun. It's entertaining. You got 2 stars, Matt and Jeff involved. Like Kevin, it was so good.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, like I said, I mean, they put Impact on the map, and Jeff Hardy played ball. Jeff Hardy didn't have to do that Brother Nero gimmick. He could have just been Jeff Hardy, done what he always done. You know, been a cool rock star. But no, he did something different. He started playing the piano. There was what was Jeff Hardy's famous catchphrase? Something you become obsolete. Something you become obsolete. I don't remember exactly how it goes.
Yeah.
But he had Brother Nero with that catchphrase. The whole crowd would sing along. Yeah, I think it's fade away and become obsolete. I believe is how it goes. But
yes,
yeah, Brother Nero, awesome, and the final deletion too was a great creative match.
Yep, and you know what else was broken? You know what else was awesome, Kevin? Reason 37. Things are about to be broken. Oh my. Like, reason 33. The amazing WrestleMania 33 return. Minus Cole.
Can I take this one?
Go.
I was in the building for this, people. I have never felt a reaction. I've been to a lot of WrestleManias. I've been to a lot of wrestling shows. I've never felt anything near the crowd reaction when the Hardys returned. I had goosebumps. I get goosebumps thinking about it. The whole crowd went crazy. If they were inside of a dome, the pop would have been crazy and you would have seen it on TV. But in the building, like, everybody was going crazy. Nobody expected the Hardys to be there. They just wrestled for Ring of Honor the day before. They wrestled the Young Bucks, I think, in a tag team match. And then the New Day, the host, they come out, they're cutting a promo. Everyone in the crowd is like, oh, okay, the New Day is going to insert themselves in the match. They don't have a match. That's cool. And then they announce the Hardys. And it's like, wow, it had been, 8+ years since the last time we heard the Hardys theme song? You see Matt, Jeff coming out. Man, I can't describe that feeling. You had to be there. It was awesome.
Oh, absolutely. And then that easily transitions to 38. The Swanton Bomb off the ladder. I mean, this one, you've got the bar situated on ladders at ringside. Cesaro and Sheamus are there. Jeff Hardy's standing at the top of the ladder. The crowd's erupting. I mean, you were there. You can attest to this. He does the Swanton, breaks Cesaro in half, quite literally. His legs hit Sheamus. Sheamus just does he flops like a fish off the ladder and just dope. I mean, awesome moment. Awesome. What was that like in person?
No, it was crazy. Seeing Jeff Hardy climb up to the top of the ladder, I remember thinking, wow, this dude is 40 and he's gonna do what I was thinking he doesn't have to do that. He's Jeff Hardy. He's done enough. But God bless Jeff Hardy. Like we said, he does anything for our entertainment. It was awesome to witness that. I'm glad I got to see that moment. He did butcher the move a little bit. I get it. He missed Sheamus by a mile, but he killed Cesaro, and yeah, the crowd was electric. The crowd was electric throughout that whole match. That's what a ladder match. That's what a WrestleMania match. That's what a moment is supposed to be, man. One of the best moments. One of the best matches, and another great iconic Jeff Hardy spot.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, yeah. So now he's back in the company. We getting through this timeline, getting through these reasons, Kevin. So yeah, we move on to 39. The Hell in a Cell match versus Randy Orton in 2018. Now, this match is pretty much infamous for the one where you had Randy Orton with a screwdriver pulling apart Jeff's ear. And that's pretty much what I remember the match for. But generally, it was just a really good match. The feud, I mean, the blood red cell didn't help, but it was a really good Hell in a Cell match, just generally.
Yeah, this is a good upper mid-card match. Probably Jeff's most famous match, I dare say, since he returned in 2017. His most famous singles match.
Yep.
Until he fused with Roman Reigns, but we'll
yep.
cover that two-time. Yeah, you have great stuff. And then Reason 40, the bar fight with Sheamus in 2020.
You're a junkie! Junkie!
He's a junkie.
You're a junkie!
This feud with Sheamus literally carried the Roman Reigns era of SmackDown in the heart of the pandemic. Without this Jeff Hardy as Sheamus and Elias feud and storyline that we got, I don't know where the hell SmackDown would have been in the middle of the summer in 2020.
Well, Kevin, you're clearly
match was awesome.
Kevin, you're clearly being sexist. Clearly, Bayley feuding with Tamina Snuka and Bayley and Sasha Banks staring at each other randomly on SmackDown every week. Clearly, that carried. You're clearly a misogynist, Kevin. Clearly.
How could I forget Bayley making fun of Michael Cole on commentary? Yeah, that's the content that I needed in my life in the middle of the pandemic in 2020.
Yeah, facts. And then moving on, 41, the dope face paint he's had over the years. I mean, this deserves some acknowledgement. I mean, Jeff Hardy, and Reason 42 as well, incredible artist. Like it's such like a talent he has, and he's been able to show that off through his face paint. He's really been able to add a talent of his to his character, which I think is really cool. And it's allowed so many fans to really connect with him because the face paint stood out. Like, people have done face paint in the past, obviously, but no one's done the face paint the way Jeff has. A new design every time, different colors. It would stand out. It would be recognizable. It'd just be cool, Kevin. Just cool all around.
Oh yeah, and he's also, we can't forget, he's also a musician. So that's another form of art that he's good at too. I don't know if he does like alternative rock or country. I don't know exactly what genre he does, but I know he's got a couple of albums. He does touring, and yeah, I mean, he does like art shows and stuff too. There's just so much more to Jeff Hardy than there is a lot of other wrestlers. And we said that a million times during this video, but yeah, he's a unique guy, and he's a legitimate artist. Like, he can legitimately grab a canvas and some paint and just paint you a masterpiece. And then at the same time, write a song. He plays guitar. Like, his depth as an artist, it layers.
Oh, Kevin, he's such a crisp artist. Like, oh my god, bro. Oh my god. He's so crisp. But yeah, moving on, 43. This one is right up your wheelhouse. You threw this on the list. Go for it, Kevin. What's 43?
Yeah, he made an appearance on That 70s Show. There's an episode, I believe, in the first season of That 70s Show where The Rock is on it. And that's really what the episode is known for, because The Rock plays his father. But then there's also an appearance by a young Matt and Jeff Hardy. They wrestle each other for like a minute and a half in a match on the show. And this was before their WWE days, I think. Maybe right when they got to WWE, so nobody really knew who they were. But it's just a moment in time in pop culture to just be like, oh yeah, Jeff Hardy was on an episode of That 70s Show. Like, you can't really say that nowadays. Like, you don't see in like 2015, you wouldn't see like
Seth Rollins
on an episode of The Office or something. You know what I mean?
Oh god, yeah. That's a horrible visual. And then moving on, 44, true to himself. By this one, I really mean, to steal a phrase from our good friend John Gargano's theme song, who, by the way, still has me blocked on Twitter. Be yourself, can't be no one else. That's Jeff Hardy to a T. This guy, he never changed who he was. He never really, lied and put up a fake version of himself. He was always real and authentic. And that's one of the things I feel like real recognizes real. I mean, you see that with Cena over the years. Like, people call him fake for all these years, but I mean, the Cena character is literally Cena the real person. And that's what got him over so much. Same with Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's he's authentic. He's true to himself, and people love that.
He bet on himself. Vince made him the face of the company in 08 and 09, the face of SmackDown, and the face of the company as WWE Champion. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to leave. So
yeah.
Due to some circumstances, but he could have came back. Everyone comes back. He could have came back, but he stayed in TNA for 8 years. He decided to do his own thing and be an artist and a musician and all that good stuff. So yeah, 45, incredibly resilient. The Jeff Hardy story is one that people can relate to. It's a real life story of him just never backing down, never being afraid of his challenges, accepting them, being forthcoming, being transparent, just seeing where he can work on as a person, what he can do, and always just coming back for more and eventually rising to the top every time. Yeah, it seems like.
Yeah, he sets a great life example that as hard as life can hit you in the face and just knock you down over and over, like Jeff Hardy, he just keeps finding a way to get back up and doing his best at everything, really. So, mad props to him on that. That's 45. Then 46 kind of blends with 47 as well. So 46, always a worthy champion, and 47, always a worthy main eventer. What we mean by this is if you have Jeff Hardy and you give him a 3-month main event, or 3-month push, and you have him main event and win a world title, for instance, as they should do later this year, I might say. If they do that, people aren't going to unanimously crap all over it. I mean, some will, but generally speaking, people will enjoy that. It'll go over well. It'll be positively received because he's worthy of that. Everything we've mentioned in the past 55 minutes is a testament to that. Jeff Hardy deserves that, respect, doesn't he?
Absolutely. Yeah. Jeff Hardy, if Jeff Hardy's the guy to dethrone Bobby Lashley or Roman Reigns, I wouldn't be mad at it. Jeff Hardy, like you said, is a worthy champion, worthy main eventer. He can easily carry SmackDown again. Like, if you have Jeff Hardy coming out with face paint on, no more words, later on in 2021 when SmackDown returns, and he's confronting the evil Tribal Chief or the evil Bobby Lashley, that's going to be must-see TV. That's going to have people invested. People are going to go to Raw. They're going to go to SmackDown. I feel like they got their money's worth. Seeing one of their favorites, Jeff Hardy, and seeing these heels, Bobby Lashley or Roman Reigns, having a worthy babyface challenger for them.
Oh my God, could you imagine? It leads into 48. So much what-if potential. Could you imagine, Kevin, it's an episode of SmackDown. There's several thousand people in attendance. Jeff Hardy's No More Words theme hits. He comes down, confronts Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns does some one-liner about, "Oh, okay, Jeff, cute entrance you got there. I mean, we would do it to wrestle if you want to take the belt off me. And I know you have a history with some PEDs, so do you want to take you take some PEDs to try and get the title off me? Just some personal skate. I'm sure Reigns' line would be much better than that. That was off the fly, but I'm sure Reigns would think of some conniving, scathing line to Jeff Hardy. Probably a super personal feud. Kevin would be sick.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't think Roman Reigns is the guy to talk about PED violations. That would be something.
It'd be heel hate, pal. Heel hate. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for facts. It's not just the what if in the future. It's also a what if throughout his entire career. What if Jeff Hardy stayed in WWE in 2009? What if he was able to get his life on track in the early 2000s and he had become a big star in the early to mid 2000s? Like what if Jeff Hardy had Randy Orton's career, for example? All the opportunities awarded to Randy Orton from 2002 to 2021. And always being a constant, always being a top guy. What if Jeff Hardy had that same opportunity? What would WWE look like? What would Jeff Hardy's career look like? Would he be a 10-time champion? Would he have main evented a couple of WrestleManias? Who the hell knows? He probably would have main evented at least 2 or 3 WrestleManias in that time frame.
Oh, God, yeah. And then this transition to 49, I mean, regardless of the what if, Jeff Hardy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Just no doubt about it. No. Absolutely. If, ands, buts, or maybes. First ballot.
He's going to headline a class one day by himself. He's going to headline a class, and the Hardys could headline a class as a tag team.
God, yeah. And then 50, this one, I mean, we'll end it with this. Everyone, Kevin, smarks, anti-smarks, casuals, neutrals, disenfranchised, women, children, adults. Everyone loves Jeff Hardy, objectively. We can end it with that. I mean, anything else to say about that one?
Yeah, generations upon generations love Jeff Hardy. Everyone does. There's kids nowadays are growing up with Jeff Hardy as their favorite wrestler, just like I grew up with him as one of my favorite wrestlers. His longevity is insane, and the universal love speaks to how charismatic and how great he is.
Absolutely.
How awesome he is, I should say.
He's very awesome there, John. So yeah, thank you guys for watching and listening to this video, podcast, however you may consume it. Just Jeff Hardy deserves his praise, and I'm sure on Elite Heat sometime soon, we're going to react to a certain article with a guy who does not feel the same way about Jeff Hardy. So that's going to be a bit of a laugh. But yeah, thank you guys. Any closing words, Kevin?
No, that's it. Thank you so much for having me on these awesome videos. This is the 3rd one I think we've done together. We did the Roman one, the Cena one, and now this one. And I dare say this is my favorite just because of how much I love Jeff Hardy. I'm a little biased.
Yeah, these are way too much damn fun. I had too much fun doing the Roman one. This one I was right on par, I feel like. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. The thumbnail's sick. Shout out to KO Fan. It looks incredible. So yeah, you're getting the full experience. You're getting a dope thumbnail. You're getting a great guest on. Just what more can you ask for? This is the latest content we love, Maggle. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, sub. He's on drill.